Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So I did a video about Jonathan Majors, and in that video I explained the situation, him being found guilty of reckless assault, and I talked about lessons that can be learned from that situation, and I brought up the issue of race. And so in response to that video, I received comments on TikTok and YouTube. You had a few people say that race is not relevant in this situation, or that this has nothing to do with race. And so this is what I have to say in response to that. This situation has everything to do with race. Race is in the background in so many ways. And I'm going to outline the different ways that race matters in this situation. First of all, given the historical context of America, anytime you have legal proceedings involving a black man and a white woman, race matters. We are all very familiar of the hostility that black men face in this society. We are very familiar that the hostility that black men face when they are dealing with white women. There's a long history in this country of black men being unalive simply for looking at a white woman, unalive simply for quote unquote whistling at a white woman, unalive based on false allegations against a black man. And not only is the individual black man unalived in these situations, entire towns, black towns, have been literally burned to the ground based on false allegations involving a black man and a white woman. So we have to look at things within their historical context. We have to understand that. So that's one thing that must be mentioned. The other thing is this. If the situation was reversed, where you have video footage of a black man chasing a white woman down the street, there's no way in hell that a jury will find that white woman guilty of anything, even if she had done the exact same things that Jonathan Majors did in this situation. There's no way, in terms of the initial assault and all that kind of stuff, the alleged initial assault, there's no way that that white woman would be found guilty of anything. In fact, that black man's life would be in danger. In fact, that black man may be subject to being unalived by the police, as Jonathan Majors mentioned during his interview on ABC. That black man would risk being brutalized by the police. That black man would likely be arrested and charged with something. Unlike this situation where the woman, I think she originally faced some charges, but they were dismissed, and Jonathan Major ended up being the one found guilty. So that's something that needs to be bared in mind. And the other thing is this. If Jonathan Majors was a white man, it is highly probable that no charges would be brought against him. It is highly probable that Marvel wouldn't have dropped him. He would not have been canceled if he was a white man. So those are factors that come into play in this situation. Those are reasons why race matters in this situation. We know of countless examples of white men in Hollywood who have done all kinds of wrong things, but yet and still their career continues to flourish. A prime example of that would be Robert Downey Jr. We all know that he's with Marvel. He's one of the biggest stars in Marvel and all that kind of stuff. His career is going fine despite like his drug addiction and other issues. There have been situations where white men have been accused of other things and their careers thrived for a long time. Harvey Weinstein, for the longest time, his career was flourishing despite all these allegations against him. And the other thing is this. We understand that black women, in the words of Malcolm X, are the least respected and protected members of society. If that woman was a black woman, it's likely that the media would have ignored the issue. it's likely that there would be no charges pressed against Jonathan Major. It's likely that many black people and white people will be defending Jonathan Majors in that situation if it involved a black woman. Because we all know, all we have to do is look at the example of R. Kelly and how people responded around that. You know, where you had all these people defending R. Kelly when it came to a situation where he's abusing black girls and black women. So race is a huge in this case. And I'm not saying that the jury made any kind of, wrong decision or anything like that necessarily. I'm saying that in many cases, because of race, a case wouldn't even have been brought if different races were involved. The situation would be fundamentally different if there were different circumstances and different, if the racial dynamic was different. There's another point that I want to raise, and that's this. You know, race plays an important role in this case because another example of that would be the conversation that was recorded. There was a conversation between Jonathan Majors and his white girlfriend where during this conversation, Jonathan Majors was complaining about her being drunk and basically saying that he's a great man and he deserves a woman like, basically he's looking for a woman like Michelle Obama or Coretta Scott King. And to me, that seems absurd for a black man to be basically expecting a white woman to be like these great black women. Instead of expecting a white woman to be like these great black women that you cited, he should have just been with a black woman. And a black woman shouldn't be an afterthought, an afterthought after you've gone through some stuff, after you've had some problems with your preferred choice of white women. Then you want to fall back on the black woman and